Hello, and welcome to the Pert Ale, a solo basic fantasy RPG podcast. I'm your host, GM Wolfgang, and this is episode 3 of the Morgansfort campaign. Uh, for those of you that don't know the backstory, please feel free to look at the previous 2 episodes. Also, there will be an episode 0. I keep saying that there will be, but so far there hasn't been. I've been a little lazy to record that because I would just want to keep diving into the story. The story's been pretty awesome so far. Last we saw, Aldrich, our main character, our hero, was, he was coming into Morgansfort after his wagon caravan made a stop, and he went into the Toothless Dragon Inn where he encountered a cleric, an older cleric, age 61, 63. I don't remember exactly. I really should keep better notes. Who told him about a kobold and goblin conflict, some orcs coming into Morgansfort to steal young women, to kidnap young women, and also a necromancer. That's kind of the big thing, a necromancer who wants to perform unholy rites. That's not a good thing. So, last that we saw, that's my background, guys. So, there we go. Last we saw, Aldrich was in the Toothless Dragon, and he was speaking to Father Cormac, who I will go ahead and name here. There we are. I did finally get a VTT token for him. It's technically a dwarf, but you know what? It just looks like an old, sagey old man, and I like it, so we're gonna roll with it. Um, trying some new music out. This was who I brought up in episode 1, Tabletop RPG Music. They're on Patreon. I will try to keep a list of all of the assets that I use while I'm playing this solo campaign. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but it's nice to just credit whom I'm using. I'm using Owlbear Rodeo as my virtual tabletop. I'm using Solo RPG GME by Willona's Cave as my Game Master emulator. I'm using the Basic Fantasy Rules. Now I'm using Tabletop RPG Music, who is free to use, uh, based on their Patreon and their Spotify about. So I feel confident in using them. So it's just kind of all of their albums in a playlist on Mix, on Shuffle. And then on top of that, I would like, I'm also using for my tokens, I'm using Paperforge and Printable Heroes. And you'll see a mix like right here we have a mix. I think Lauren is Printable Heroes, and then Father Cormac is Paperforge. I might have that backwards. I'm sorry, I have them all just kind of lumped together in a folder in my on my computer. So if you are the creator and you're watching this and I mixed that up, or I'm just totally off base, I apologize. And then I also want to get into tabletop audio for some of the stuff that will happen as we progress. But I think ultimately I'm going to keep tabletop RPG music playing in the background. And we'll just see where it goes from there. I'm not, like I said, I'm still learning all of this. I'm using OBS, and I'd like to be able to mix the audio in or the music in separately, and so you don't have all the pauses from when I have to like break on the video and whatnot. Just not something I'm totally familiar with yet, so bear with me as I just get all of this rolling. So last we spoke, we had Father Cormac and Aldrich in the Toothless Dragon. He had spoken to, well, there was a priest here, so I don't have a token for him yet. There's a bit of a shortage of cleric tokens on both of these resources. Not to besmirch them in any way. It's just, they're all mostly like demi races or female. And this is very clearly an old man that I've rolled into this campaign. So here's where I settled here for Father Cormac. Father Thelbane, I still don't have a VTT token for him yet, but we'll get there. I have no doubt of that. Anyway, so we met with Father. Shoot, I don't have that in front of me. The underling priest, and he was. There we go. It was Father Moline, right? So Father Moline was kind of a scruffy cat when it came to, questions that Aldrich had that came from Father Cormac concerning those three incidences: the goblins, the kobolds, the orcs, and the necromancer. And then Father Thelbane chimed in and honestly was not any more helpful. He was just like, if you're hearing any of that, then it's just nonsense, and I don't know who you're talking to, and, he's not part of our church, whoever you're talking to, whoever you're calling father. So he was redirected back to the Iron Helm, and Lauren was just like, he's never stayed here, I don't know the guy, just really stonewalling on it. Kind of sus, but not as sus as Moline and Father Thelbane. So Aldrich decided after a couple of hours of this, he went back into the Toothless Dragon, and lo and behold, Father Cormac was there. They shared a beer, and Father Cormac gave Aldrich this map. Let me kind of. All right, so I'm going to full screen that. So here's the map that Father Cormac gave Aldrich, and Aldrich spent all day trying to figure out how he was going to go from Morgansfort to what is called the Old Island Fortress. It might be better to have a steed to make this travel here, and then there's a bit of water to travel. So is Aldrich to swim? Is Aldrich to get a boat? So those are things that we're going to work out today. And then hopefully most of that is not taken up in our hour. I will try really hard to kind of streamline it. Normally I run a little over an hour, and we're at the 9-minute mark, so let's try really hard to, get into the island. What my goal is today is to, within the first half hour after the introduction, get into the Old Island Fortress and start moving around and start exploring. So with that, I'm going to pause briefly and I'm not going to pause, I'm going to roll. So let's get rid of this. You know what? I'm not just the GM, I am GM Wolfgang. So let's save that. So I am GM Wolfgang, as shown here. But let's pull up our dice tray, and let's roll on what we can get. Let's double check. First off, we have to discover a steed, and I'll upload this character sheet. I don't have a digital copy at the moment that I could just show you, but you're gonna have to trust me a bit. But oddly enough, the notebook that I rolled him on is not available, and I don't have his current monies. All right, so it looks like he has 20 gold. So let me copy that down real quick. He's got 20 gold available to him, and yeah, it's still the character sheet that I got wet, so I've yet to make a new one, but you know what? It's dry, so don't use sweaty glasses when you are playing with paper kids. Don't play with fire while you're playing with paper. With this, I will take a small pause here, and I will look over Aldrich's options concerning steeds. And perhaps, you know what? Maybe he comes to a deal. Maybe he's able to, borrow a horse or a pony or something. He's a grown man, so maybe not a pony. Maybe at worst a mule. So let me figure that out, and I'll be right back with you. You will hear the music skip because I'm just not all that good at this at the moment. I'll figure it out. All right. You know what? It occurs to me that in the role that I made, which will be in the character creation video that I do to kind of go through what I did for Aldrich, the supplement that I used for quick character generation did give him a steed. And so I do, in fact, have a pony. So, askew what I said, that may not be the word I'm looking for here. Just back up. I didn't say that he could ride a pony. He couldn't ride a pony. That was nonsense. What was I talking about? So anyway, Alder has a pony, and which might be a little below his station, being a former military man, but you know what? Maybe he's just like he was so down and out after his unit was all slaughtered, and he kind of like maybe he drank himself to a bit of an empty purse, and the only thing he could afford was a pony. And looking at the equipment emporium for Basic Fantasy, a pony, just a basic pony, costs 40 gold. So that's not the only similar priced animal is a donkey, a mule, or an ass for 40 gold, 40 gold for the pony. So you got something that'll ultimately grow on him, right? Assuming that the pony doesn't die. Now we need to figure out the vessel that Aldrich is going to use, or he has a swim check. So that's something that we can look at. Now let's look for. See, that's general equipment. This may be something that I pause the video again for if I cannot. I would say vehicles. There we go. Land and water. Okay. So what can we get for 20 gold? Not a whole lot, because a canoe is 50 gold. Okay, so there might be a little barter that needs to happen. So let's look at our module and figure out who is available for that. So in Morgansfort, let's see, Gatehouse, Southeast Tower, Common Stable, Bank, Trader, Trader of Dry Goods, okay, not including armored weapons and livestock, okay. The Square, the residence, Stableman's residence, gambling house, residence, smithy. All right, so I will be pausing here just to kind of go over what's available in Morgansfort, and then I will be right back with you guys. So, very unfortunately, for about 6 minutes there, I was recording with my microphone on mute. Lame. So, hopefully, I can edit this in uh, YouTube's video editor. Otherwise, I'll try to figure it out in a desktop editor. But so it occurred to me while I was paused that I did not have the VTTs reset. Last we saw, Aldrich was, back in the Iron Helm, and so he awakens and he goes down and he talks to the halfling at the desk and says, "I'm looking for someone who deals in watercraft or some sort of vessel that I can get across a small river with." And the lady halfling behind the desk, who we don't have a name for, not willing to go with that at the moment, says, "Oh, I know exactly who you should speak to." And she comes outside of the building and kind of points to the southwesternly direction. I'm sorry, southeasternly. No, southwesternly. Goodness, the southeasternly direction, and points to this building here. And she says, "You see that building that's kind of at the corner of this building and this building?" And Aldrich says, "Yes, I do." And she says, "That is the local trader, Jero Lathora. He deals in all goods that doesn't include weapons, armor, or livestock. So if you need any form of, if you need a candlestick for your home, if you need a 10-foot pole, if you need a canoe, whatever, he's your guy." So she makes her way back in, and Aldrich thanks her and heads down into this shop. And so something that I'm going to do new that I didn't do in previous videos is I am going to. I've got two instances of Owlbear open up, and I've got one where I am the PC, as you can see here, that's me here, and then also where I am the GM. And so that way I can, do all of the clever tricks on here as the game master, and nobody is getting, you're not getting more than before. Prior to that, we had the, no, not here. We had the shoot, the proprietor of the Iron Helm in this home, and I kind of like hid him, but you couldn't see him. So now I can do things like total fog fill and like that, and so we'll kind of explore it together, even though it's just a solo play with a module. Anyway, so let's bring out our proprietor of the trade shop, and it's da 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 da, pretty much the same VTT that I had prior. I'm at kind of a bereft of unique VTTs for certain things. It's kind of like the cleric before, where most clerics on both of printable heroes and Paperforge are female or some sort of demi-human. That's fine. It's just I need a proprietor, so he looks like a proprietor, and so we're just gonna roll with that. He is the proprietor. Anyway, so here is Jero, and so let's roll on Jero's attitude. Just double checking that I am recording audio, and I am. Nothing like spending 6 minutes talking to yourself. So here we are. All right. Oh, and I can get some music playing. All right, so let's look at our attitude table, and we are going to roll a d12 on his attitude. The last one the one I rolled when I was mute was 6. Let's see what this one is. 2, aggressive. Okay, well he doesn't know us. 5, indifferent. Okay, indifferent, neutral, very similar. So Aldrich walks into Trader Joro's shop and says, good morrow. Oh, something else that I did is I rolled weather. And the weather I got was clear and clear all day. But you know what? It's a new instance and you didn't see that. So let's re-roll. What is our weather for today? 8. So it is clear. Okay, clear. That's what we got before. And 5. It's going to be clear all day. So yep, looks good. All right, so we have an indifferent Giro, who I will name real quick. It's Giro. What is his last name? Kind of a minor detail, but what is it? It's Lothera. I'll copy that. All right, so Giro Lothera. And so Aldrich enters the shop and approaches the keep, the shopkeep, and says, "Good morning." And Giro's just kind of like, "Indeed, what do you want? What do you need?" And so Aldrich says, "I'm in need of a canoe or some sort of small water-faring vessel in order to get across a small lake." And I had that list up. So let me go back. Fortunately, I can cut a couple of seconds out of this, couple of minutes out of it. But I'm kind of up against the time here. I really want to just get into the actual dungeon and you guys just not sit here for 3 hours going, what's this guy doing? So let me pause briefly on this and I'll be right back with you. Okay, we're going to kind of speed this along a little bit. The canoe costs 50 gold. Aldrich only has 20 gold, so let's see if we can dicker a little bit. Aldrich then offers 5% of his yield, of gold and treasure and whatnot to Giro if he gives him the canoe just completely gratis. And so just not, obviously not completely gratis, but like Aldrich is able to take the canoe now and pay Giro later. And so Giro then says, that's not what I want. How do I do the... Yeah, just 1 through 10. Oh, okay. Alright, it's showing digits that aren't 1 through 10. This is numbergenerator.org. It's showing digits 1 through, or more than 1 through 10, but I've got a 1 through 10 on here for like this percentage that Giro wants. So Aldrich started at 5 and Giro says 10. Alright, well then Aldrich, geez, 3 episodes later, Aldrich counters with 8. Giro says 9. Aldrich counters back with 7 if you're going to play that game. And so ultimately, Giro agrees to 8% of the treasure hoard from the old island fortress. Like, Aldrich kind of gave him the rundown of what's going on with the priest and then all of the incidents that are going on, and Giro is very familiar with all the incidents that are going on. And if there is an adventurer out here willing to stake his life on all of this, then he's, more than willing to take 8% of his plunder from the first venture, the first area, the first dungeon. So Giro agrees to 8%. Let me write that down before I forget. 8% of the plunder from the old island fortress. Of course, I don't have my pencil. There it is. Okay. Let's see. Giro. 8% old island fortress. Okay. So Aldrich gets his canoe, and we're just going to kind of skip through. It was, we'll assume 7 o'clock in the morning again. That seems to be about the time that Aldrich awakes. And I will double check distance and travel time, and then I'll be right back. Okay, so it looks like based on the map and the scale I have for the map, which is 120 yards per square, and I kind of just did this little motion with it. Looks like we're about half a mile. Let's say 0.75 miles, because if he's a horse that can move 40 feet per round, which is 6 miles based on the. Oh no, 24 miles. Wow. I'm absolutely just kind of a dork. Anyway, so the pony can move 24 miles in a day. So we are at half a mile, 3/4 of a mile. Let's just say half a mile for, easy. So 24. Anyway, takes about 30 minutes, maybe an hour. I don't know why I did the math on camera. That's makes me look dumb. Anyway, so from here to here, let's say no more than an hour has gone by. So assuming the 7 o'clock wake up, maybe 8 o'clock by the time he ultimately leaves. Here we are at 9 o'clock on a clear day with no rain in sight. So now Aldrich makes the canoe travel over to this little island here. Zoom in, sorry. And then ultimately over to the old island fortress. Let's call it 9 o'clock in the morning. So I think I need to now change to my next map. One moment. All right, I refreshed myself on the figures that I had. It's 960 yards from Morgansfort to the very point where Aldrich would have to cross right here. And 960 yards is apparently 0.54 feet or miles, 0.54 miles. So half a mile from here to here. He travels at 24 miles per day. That is 3 miles an hour, and so half an hour or half a mile would be, just 15, 20 minutes. 20 minutes. So anyway, so from here to here, let's call it 9:30. You know. All right. So anyway, I kind of dorked out and just made a mess of the calculation. So it's been half a mile, let's say 20 minutes on the pony, and then you know this isn't very well. This is about 120 yards itself. Let me double check. You know what? I'm not even gonna play this game. It's 10 o'clock. It's 10 o'clock. Homies at the entrance of the old island fortress. We've messed around enough. I've got some stuff to cut out of here, but we've got 30 minutes of gameplay left or so before I end the cast. So, pardon my terrible math, and we're going to just move on to the fortress. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. It's still fair outside. It's still sunny and clear, and I believe we rolled spring. I really needed to be a little better at my journal keeping on this, my note keeping. So I'm going to pause again, and then we're going to just start, and we're going to spend 30 minutes inside the old island fortress, and we're going to play. Enough is enough. All right, so we have now entered the old island fortress. Oh, it's dangerous to go alone. Here, take this. All right. So I would just kind of wanted to set the mood there. Let me get back to my normal music. Honestly, though, let's try to set the mood a little bit with TTRPG music. All right, let's start with this one. I don't know what this one's going to sound like, but it's got some promises based on its description. Oh yeah, that's nice and ambient. Ambient. All right, so enough playing around. Let's get to this dungeon, right? So I'm not cutting the fog. What's up? Okay, I got you. No, that's not it. Well, this is just uneventful, isn't it? Okay. There we go. So, and you'd think I'd be more prepared for this by now. Alright, hang on. I've got to pause again, guys. Sorry. Alright, let's get into this thing. So, this room appears to be empty. The floor shows signs of substantial traffic between the stairs and the western hallway. Stairs in the western hallway. I don't even know about that yet. Okay, so. Hang on. Let me make sure this map is correct. Oh, you know what? I know where I'm starting, and it's not here. Sorry. We're going to. Yep. Okay. Another pause. Sorry. All right. It's absolutely just super fun when you totally mess up and goof the map. But I have it figured out now. So I don't really know how to do the shapes on the map. So you'll have to bear with me a bit on this. Some of these shapes are just not, well, square. I think my VPN's kind of messing with this. Right, okay. So there we go. So there is our entrance area. And so I need to make, according to the rules, I need to make an encounter check. And so let's roll that. Really? GM Wolfgang twice? Why? GM. Alright, Wolfgang PC twice. Alright, so I'm gonna reload both of these. Hang on. Sorry guys, you're just gonna have to kind of bear with the hiccups here. Okay, I think we're okay. Yep, okay. Alright. So I need to make an encounter check. And so we're gonna roll a D6. 3. Alright, so no random encounter. That's good. Alright, so the room appears to be empty. The floor shows signs of substantial traffic between the stairs and the western hallway. Let's see, so in the original map, north is this way, so west would be this way, but in the. This is, I have the map of the original Morgansfort campaign, but I have the update. I'm using the updated module. So let me double check to make sure that the maps are oriented the same. All right, it looks like they are. So if north is this way, then that would be south. This would be east, and this would be west. Oh, sorry, 1 second. Okay. Nope, I totes messed that up. So if this is north, this is this is west. Yeah, so west, north, south, west, east. And so we have substantial traffic moving this direction. Okay. Now, a good question. Sorry, I had to chew an antacid. So if that's what you're hearing right now. I'm really trying to make this kind of professional, guys. I'm really sorry about all of this. It's raw, I told you. So, if we're going to move west based on the foot traffic, well, let's roll on that. What direction are we going to roll? Or what? Ugh. What direction are we going to move? So let's say one for north, one for south. Or I'm sorry, one for north, two for south, 3 for east, 4 for west. We're going to move north. Okay. All right. That's good. Now, are we being quiet? Let me roll on the Oracle. Let's assume we're trying to be quiet, but are we being quiet? We're going to move north, and are we being quiet? 6. No, and, okay, let's check the random event generator. $18. Rumor about a treasure, not totally applicable at the moment. 8. Dangerous creature appears. Okay, so now the verb and noun table. So not being quiet and dangerous creature appears. 5. No, I need one that's... Oh no, they're down here. Got it. Alright, so no, we're not being quiet, but a dangerous creature appears, and we are at the verbs, which is 41. Trade, okay. Trade. Inventor. Alright, so not really applicable. Let's roll again. 18. Summon. Ooh, okay. 22. Summon tool. Okay. So we have a dangerous creature appears and some sort of tool is summoned. So let's, I guess, with that, if some dangerous creature appears and we're not being quiet, let's roll on the where is my main Morgansfort? Okay. So let's roll on our random encounter. Alright, it's a D6. And so just out of the gate, like not being quiet, and then all of a sudden, no, we're not being quiet and something is summoned. So I should totally roll on the encounter table. So it looks like the first level of the random encounters, if I roll a 6, it's 1d6 sturges. So let's... Okay, alright, good. Just one sturge. That could be worse. So I've not even moved yet. I'm just not even being quiet, though. And I don't have a token on the board. Man, I'm kind of just not doing my job. Okay. Yeah, I'm in a private window for the, the player here. So I may have to make a separate account just for the player. So let's see, solo characters, Aldrich. So boom. All right, so here's Aldrich, not very big. Let me see if I can fix that. Kind of too big. Let's just zoom in on it. There we are. Aldrich, what's up, guy? All right. So then all of a sudden a sturge appears. So let me find that. I do have sturges. One sturge appears. All right, let's see. Is it from... Well, we were heading north, so we'll just assume he comes from the north. I think that's fair. Okay. Let me figure out which sturge it is real quick by a die roll. Actually, no, because not in. It's not a die number. All right, so random 1 through 7. All right, it's number 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. All right, so I have his hit points. All right, so let's roll. So let's check surprise. Is anybody surprised? So for that, that is. I don't really. Yeah, okay. I don't want to check reaction necessarily, but let's roll a d6 for surprise. Let's do it. Two of them. No, let's not, because I want to roll one for one side and one for the other. So let's be fair about it. All right, so this will be for the Sturge. All right, so it looks like the Sturge is surprised on the 2. Now let's check for Aldrich. Aldrich is not surprised. So it is going to be Aldrich up first, regardless of initiative. So let me try to. I actually do have an initiative tracker. Yeah. 1 second. You know, you feel you're prepared for these games, but sometimes you're not. That's probably something I need to do on the GM side. So, extension. Yeah, we'll just. Oh, I do have that. Okay, there it is, right there. All right, so initiative tracker. So we're not going to worry about initiative just this moment. We'll roll here in a second. All right, so we're going to roll an attack. Yeah, Aldrich's going to use his battle axe on the Sturge. So we need a d20 and 1. Womp, womp, womp. Are you kidding me? A 1. So just flat on his face. Just swing and a miss. Like you're a soldier? What is that kind of roll? Okay, so now we're going to roll initiative. And initiative in basic fantasy is a d6 roll plus dexterity. So let's roll initiative. I mean, bro had a perfect, perfect opportunity to like lay into this guy, but he just didn't. So we're gonna roll for Aldrich, which is a 3. That's what we're gonna go with. Okay, it's a 3 plus his Dex, which is a 4. So we need to add to initiative tracker, and then we need to add the Sturge to initiative. All right, so we have a 4. Let me just rename him real quick. I think that'll make it a little easier to read on the. Okay. So 4 on Aldrich's initiative. Oh, of course I didn't. Okay. All right, 4. And let's roll the Sturge's initiative 5 right out of the gate, just not winning at all. Alright, so it'll be the Sturge first, and then Aldrich, and that's just how the initiative is going to be. So, the Sturge is going to roll for attack. He has a hit die of 1, so that's a +1 on his attack as attack bonus, and so that's a 12, which does not beat Aldrich's armor class of 17. So now it is Aldrich's turn. Bro, okay. Sturge's turn. 19, that is absolutely a hit. So, the Sturge gets a bite, and that is a 1d4 plus 1d4 round blood drain. So this isn't looking very good for Aldrich. So let me double check something here. I do have the Sturge here pulled up. If it hits a creature, it attaches and drains blood equal to 1 d4 on its initiative. Okay. Alright, so hopefully this isn't a total TPK for Aldrich. Alright, so damage 3. Alright. Let me keep up with that. The Sturge's HP is, yep, okay. And Aldrich is 9. Alright, so the Sturge hit for 3, and then it's his initiative next. And he hits for 1. Okay, wow. Alright, not looking very good for Aldrich. So hopefully we can get something going on here. Roll. Bro! You can't be serious. Okay. And for the Sturge, 15 plus the 1. Nope, that's a miss. 16. Okay, good job, Aldrich. What's the AC for? Okay, alright, so that's absolutely a hit. So Aldrich is going to take his battle axe and kind of like carve this thing away from him with as much force as he can. So that is a D8. Big bucks, no whammies. 7 plus strength. So that is a 9, and the Sturge is absolutely just decimated. Ah, womp womp. Alright. So, goodbye, Mr. Sturge. But Aldrich has been severely damaged within just minutes of being in the cave. Or the fortress. Sorry, I have... Okay. So, we're going to give him the attachment of death. There we go. Alright, so the Sturge is dead, but Aldrich is pretty daggone wounded. So, it took us, what did I say, a half hour to get back to town? So we're going to go back to town for right now. And we're just going to kind of, we've got a little bit of time. So we're going to RP Aldrich dipping out and spending the necessary time in bed to recover and realizing he's kind of a, like he just got almost eaten or, sucked, his blood out. So let's fast forward. And Aldrich has now returned and he sees the withering skeleton of the Sturge. He's full health. And so now he's going to make his way north. That was what he decided. So we're going to make our way north. Alright, so I believe this cavern is completely dark. I don't see anything about light. So let's see. Aldrich has Aldrich has a lantern, a hooded lantern, and 10 oil flasks. So the the time for an oil flask is so 30-foot radius, and then 10 or and then dim light 20 feet further. So I'll cut that in half and just say 40 feet, and it lasts for 18 plus 1d6. So let's roll a d6 to see how long the lantern lasts, because he clearly didn't light one when he came in, and he just absolutely got attacked. So that's just nicht gut. So let's roll. 1. So we have 19 turns. 19 turns for this lantern. All right. So the lantern is lit, and we're going to cut we're going to say 40 feet for the capabilities of Owlbear. And so we have a set of stairs. Looks like, well, going up. Okay, so going down, and then going down, and then. Oh, no. Alright, it's saying too much. Alright, so Aldrich is going to. Nope, that's not what I want. Okay, let's move this back over. Thank you very much. Okay. We got on. Yeah, we're good on our. Okay. And then he gets this. And then this. Alright, so let me try to figure out where Aldrich is. Oh, you know what? Right back at the starting point. Jeez. Down, down, and then up. Alright, so we're not going to go that direction. We've decided that, you know what? North is where we came from. So we're just heading back up. So that's what happens when you light a torch. Let's say that's one round. He moves 60 feet per round. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So that's a round and a half. So we are one round down on the torch. Just backtracking. How silly. Okay. So apparently, us being noisy means that we are disturbing an animal. Possibly. Alright, so let's roll on a d4 on our possibility. 1 through 3 are, so 1 is 25%, 2 is 50, 3 is 75, 4 is 100. So 2. Alright, so let's roll on that. And I guess Aldrich is going to decide to go west because that's where you see substantial traffic. So, having just backtracked again, now that we're aware of it, having seen it this time. Alright, so Aldrich can see to 40 feet. Kind of reduce the size a little bit. Alright, something like that. We'll try to keep it as visible as possible. All right, so Aldrich has hit 40 feet, and he can see. Shows a little better at the polygon tool, where like his light just kind of shines in. Honestly, not very cool, Aldrich. You just kind of stepped into a hallway. So we're just gonna roll with that. I made the decision to just move him that far, so let's roll on a d6. Alright, so fortunately, let's assume looking to the north, and then that we got no encounter. Looking to the south, no encounter. Alright. Kind of hard to play both parts at once, so just bear with me. So he's able to see 40 feet in front of him, both directions. Now he can go either way, or he can continue south. And you know what? Does Aldrich go north? 2. And that on my oracle is yes. Alright, so he goes north. We're not even gonna play around. 1, 2, 3. And so Aldrich's not really good at navigating corners, apparently. I'm gonna have to work on that a little bit. But we're in an empty area, it appears. But I think it's time for a wandering monster check. And so on our random encounter table, having defeated 1 Sturge, we're going to see what we have minus 1 Sturge. Alright, so we're going to roll another d6. 1. Alright, we need to make a... Alright, so we run into a giant Caecilia? If you know how that's pronounced, let me know in the comments. Cecilia? Jeez. Which one does he... Alright, he runs into that one. Okay, alright, so... Well, this is not a super great start for Aldrich. Characters... and insects somewhere. There it is, insects and arachnids. Alright, I don't have this character as a VTT right out of the gate, so give me just a moment and I'll pull it up. Alright, so it appears this creature is, this Cecilia is a worm. So, for lack of a better VTT, at the moment, I'm using a centipede. is what it is. So we start the combat music, and let's check surprise. So back to surprise, we have let's roll for Aldrich. Aldrich is surprised. That's unfortunate. But the Cysalia is not. So the Cysalia now gets an attack roll. Totally misses. Could have checked response, but I mean, like, I feel our reaction, but I feel like Aldrich is just randomly coming into this being's lair, for yeah. So and Aldrich apparently has been loud. I did not check a loudness this last go around, but probably should have, because with the Sturge earlier, that maybe Aldrich was being a little more quiet, but the light is probably just a dead giveaway, so I'm just not going to do a reaction. So the Cysalia missed, and so Aldrich is going to you know what? Never mind. That's a good attack roll. I was going to figure out if Aldrich wanted to move or anything, but you know what? With that attack, with that 19, I just kind of meant to set it down, but it rolled anyway. Hard to beat a 19, so Aldrich's going to attack with his battle axe, and that's a hit. And so Aldrich is going to deal what kind of damage? 7 plus strength, so 9. Boom, right out of the gate, 9. Now, let's roll on its morale. Is it willing to fight, or is it willing to... is it going to fight or not? So, I need to roll 2d6. It's fighting. It's not going away. Okay. So, let's roll for initiative. Aldrich is 6. And... alright, so they attack together. It's just kind of this... they're just fighting. So let me remove this Sturge from initiative. We're going to add the Cysalia. You know what? It's only 2 of them. I'm not going to worry about it too much. And they attack together, and I'm not going to... the main rules in Basic Fantasy say you roll every round for initiative. I may do that. I may. But they both have the same initiative, so we're just gonna roll. We're gonna roll. Here's... oh no, that's not what I wanted to do. They're both going to attack. So Aldrich is going to attack with his battle axe again. 18, that is a hit. So I'm just gonna write that down. 18. And then does the Cysalia hit? No, the Cysalia does not hit. So we're going to go ahead and roll damage for Aldrich. 5 plus strength is 7. Alright, the Cysalia is down. I'm gonna let this run a little over because now we're actually getting into some combat and stuff, and so this may be a longer episode even after I cut the faux pas I made earlier. So you're just gonna have to sit tight, enjoy the ride. So far, I mean, we've had 2 combat, a wrong turn, like wow. All right, so the Sicilia is dead. Let's check the nest. I feel like this random sturge that we had earlier, they're a flying animal. This wasn't necessarily a nest. This was something that Aldrich came across. So let's consult the Oracle. Is there anything in the nest? 2. Yes. All right. So let's roll on the random treasure table in Basic Fantasy. Oh, actually, it does have a. Sorry, it does have a treasure. Yeah. So let me pull him up. Cisalia, giant, and it is a treasure type B. Oh wow! I got. Do I get the same? I think they're supposed to be younger. Like I'm looking at the XP in the book. I'm like, do I get the same XP? So we get a plus 37 for the Sturge, and then a plus what for the Cisalia? 145. Okay. So it's not the full like 555 because it says these monsters are young and thus much smaller. Okay. So going back to treasure type, Cisalia has a treasure type of B. So back to treasure. Alright, so let's roll for coppers. That's 75% of 5 times, or 5 d10s. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 39. So 75% of that is 39 times 0.75. Alright, so 30 coppers plus 30 CP. Treasure type. So 50% of 5d6 of silver. Alright, so we'll say 11 plus 11 silver. 50% of 5d4 of electrum. $14, so plus 7 electrum. And no platinums, but 25% of a d6 of jewelry. Let's not roll on jewelry. I don't want to go over that, or we can roll on. We can roll on the possibility of a magic weapon. 10% chance of a magic weapon. Alright, well, no magic weapon. And no gems. Okay. So, not a bad little score there in this nest. Alright, so we now have south to contend with, or east. So Aldrich is going to be a little more careful this time. And we're going to consult the Oracle on his silence. So Aldrich is going to move south in total. You know, just at least these two here. And then he's going to peer around the corner and then kind of look forward a little more. So with that, we're going to move, and does Aldrich move silently? He's really trying. Yes. Okay. That's good. Now, does he see anything to the east? Let's roll for a 50-50. So no. Using the optional rules for roll 2d6 and keep the lowest or the highest. And, you know, we just fought two monsters. I'm going to try to give him a little break here. So no is his answer here with the 6. No, and roll on the random event generator. So this may not be working out so well for Aldrich. No, he doesn't see a monster to the south, but... Or no, he doesn't see anything to the south, but... So let's see. Alright, so we need to roll a d20. 11. Magic phenomenon occurs. Okay, that's interesting. Let's roll with it. Let's see what happens. If it's not what I want to do, then it's not what I want to do. So then I need to roll on the verb and noun tables. So magic phenomenon appears. 57. Plan. 98. Plan warden. Let's roll again on the noun table. Plan what? Plan 63. Plan soldier. Okay. Plan. Plan soldier. That's interesting. Does this mean that Aldrich had an encounter with some sort of guard in Morgansfort to plan to meet him here? That's curious. We could roll with that. I mean, why not? At the end of the day, Aldrich is the only person in this dungeon that he's aware of. And he's run into two pretty bad dudes, you know, in the case of like monsters, like, you know what? So let's play with that. Let's say like during his dickering at Giroux and whatnot, like on his way out of Morgansfort, he came across a soldier who agreed to, you know, explore this cave with him. Explore this dungeon, rather, not a cave specifically. All right, so I like the idea that leaving Morgansfort, he came across a guard who asked where he was going, and then Aldrich told him he was going to the old island fortress, and the soldier was like, dude, I've always wanted to go there. you know? Um, and so, Aldrich's at the entrance, so, but we were asking about the hallway to the south. So, oh, you know what? I forgot that, Aldrich had to leave to go back to heal for a little bit. So, yeah, let's get this guy in here. It's obviously something's going on, and I like this dice roll, and obviously Aldrich needs the assistance. So I do have a soldier character that I can throw in here, a VTT. Well, let's roll what level he is first. So let's assume no greater than level 4, right? So roll level 1. All right. So I'm not going to assume a whole bunch of armor and whatnot. So I've got a decent selection here of militia. I'm going to go with this guy. This guy looks good. So we're going to add him in. We're going to move him down this way a little bit. I don't have any stats for him, so I need to pull up some stats for a level 1 human fighter. Fortunately, there are plenty of options here, but there is one in particular that I'm going to use, and it is Chrysogen's Cutery? Available at basicfantasy.org, and it is fighters. So the whole thing will be just kind of plugged in. Find a man. Honestly, though, I didn't even roll gender. Let's roll gender real quick. You just don't know. There could be a female fighter. I'm open to that. So, random number generator, or rather, let's do the 1 of 2. So 1 for male, 2 for female. Alright, 1 male. So I do need to find a male name. And we're going to go with... I like Magnihild the Mighty. Magnihild the Mighty. He is a level 1 fighter with an armor class of 14. 1d8 plus 1 on his damage. So it looks like he's got some sort of magical longsword. Let's see. Yeah, longsword, leather armor, and shield. Let's see. It reads, awkward when asked about his nickname, Magnild will insist it's just something he's always been called. In truth, it's a nickname he invented for himself to conceal his lack of a surname. A child dumped anonymously at the orphanage, he was never told it, his last name, so it's long since lost, along with any relatives. He was a laborer, then briefly worked as an on-call substitute in the fighting pits, but learned he didn't have the heart for it. He saw other men like himself, desperate and lost, fighting someone that they had no quarrel with to put bread on the table. What he really wants are people to fight alongside with in a purpose. And he does. He has a longsword +1. So lucky Magnild, man, not Magnild the Mighty, but maybe Magnild the Lucky when it comes to this. So Aldrich peers around the corner and pull up my main Owlbear, my DM Owlbear here. So he's got 10, 20, 30, 40. I realize the VTT has a like a spear versus a longsword, so let's just all once again play pretend. Which is funny to say when we're all talking about a game. But Magnild. Roll up. Magenhild. Alright, so Aldrich peers around the corner and he runs into Magenhild, who is Magenhild paying attention to what's going on at the moment? So let's roll a d6 on the Oracle. 2. Yes. Just a flat yes. Okay. Is Aldrich really paying attention? Is like Aldrich aware? No, but alright. So I'm gonna ignore that. So Aldrich shines his lantern down this way, and all of it, all Magenhild, is blinded by the light. He's got his own light source. I don't have that information necessarily. I'll roll his equipment later, but let's assume he has at least a torch, right? But being blinded by the concentrated beam of Aldrich's lamp, Magenhild says, he puts his arm over his head to like shield, or his hand over his eyes to just kind of shield the glare. And Magenhild says, "Who is that? Who goes there? Whatever." And Aldrich, recognizing the voices, Magenhild, and Magenhild says, I guess that they would have exchanged enough that like they know each other's names. So yeah, let's say that Aldrich says Magenhild, and Magenhild says Aldrich, and so they come over and they meet again. They greet. And what is Magenhild's disposition? What's his attitude? Let's roll on that. Blah, 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 blah. Right. 12. Admiring. Okay. Alright, let's do another check. 8. Helpful. Alright. I expect him to be helpful. That's not helpful at all. Alright, 6. Neutral. Alright, so let's go with admiring. That was the first one. Oh, Aldrich, you're here. I knew you were a strong soldier, so, I knew you would be here, but I'm glad to see you. And Aldrich is absolutely glad to see Magenhild, his like brother, or maybe not brother, but Magenhild. I'm so glad to see you. I've already just within days. I've come down here the first day and a sturge attacked me. It attached to me and sucked my blood. Uh, Next, I wound up into a large worm's nest, and I'm so grateful to see you. I was hoping you would be here. And Magenhild says, "Yeah, I've been here for." I don't want to do 4. Let's roll again. I've been, well, 3. Okay, it's not really much difference. Yeah, I've been here for 3 days. It's scary down here. You just have no idea what I've been through. And Aldrich's just like, this is my second day down here, and I get it. And have you been back to town at all? So let's roll a d6 on that on the Oracle. I think that's a no, but I'll double check. You know what? Let's roll 2. Get back to the Oracle here. All right, so I have a no and. So no. All right, so Magenhild's gonna, he's been down here for 3 days. He's low on supplies, maybe, or maybe not necessarily food, but probably low on water, unless Magenhill knows of something. So we'll play that angle for a little bit, and I really do want to just play a little long. I know that, I'm normally under an hour or right at an hour, but this is good stuff, and I think that our party has grown, and it's good stuff. So we're just gonna play for a little bit. Well, I'm glad to see you, Magenhild. I really could use the extra help. And then Magenhild like kind of unsheaths his sword and like, just kind of like, especially of this, it's magic, Obviously he would know that it's magic by this point. So, all right, so Aldrich asks, how much have you explored? And that's a good question. So how would I figure out how much area that Magenhild has explored? Let's do a d20, and each number means like, 1 square. So each digit is 10 feet. I've really only 40, gone 40 feet beyond from where we are right now. And Aldrich says to the south, and I'm sorry, to the east. I'm sorry, west. To the west, Aldrich inquires, and you know what? I'm going to do a yes or no. Well, sorry, let's consult the oracle. That's not what I wanted to do. There we go. No, and all right. So let's check that out. Random event plus Nurbin Vound, Verbin Noun. All right. Let's do a D20. 3. Valuable item discovered. Ooh, interesting. All right. And then D100. Valuable item discovered. 27. Betray. Alright. Betray disguise. Alright, let's do one more. 14. Heal. 29. Heal artifact. Alright, I will do one more. 32. Demolish. 56. Demolish King. Okay, alright, so this isn't really where I'm going with it. What did I say? On the random event generator, it was valuable item discovered. Okay. So Megan Aldrich asks, have you only gone the 40 feet in this direction? And it was no by Magenhild that he had discovered treasure somewhere else. And so I really feel like the feet ought to be changed. So I'm going to roll again on the feet. Alright, so 130 feet. So he's gone 130 feet into the dungeon, and he discovered a valuable treasure. So one could assume that something is being held that Magenhild is not able to either get to the treasure, or he's not able to defeat the thing that holds the treasure, so we're going to have to find that out. And so Aldrich says, have you been south of here? No, but... Alright, we'll do one more roll on the... Is it verb and noun or random? Yeah, verb and noun. So, no, but... $49. Conquer. Capture. Conquer. Recruit. Okay. Okay, no, but I heard the screams of a recruit that I brought along. Okay, alright. From the south. So that's why I'm heading this direction. And then, there's a door right here that I've not yet checked. And so Aldrich Magenhild joins Aldrich. You know what? I will attach them. It's not what I want to do. I mean, it is what I want to do, but I want to make it kind of permanent. So, no. So they're at the door. And Aldrich's lamp shows a little bit more. Of them to the south, and then possibly something to, I'm sorry, not the south, the west, the east. Jeez. It's hard when it's turned like this. To the east, and then possibly something to the north. But they're at this door. So, what about the door? So let's check the oracle whether or not it's locked. Is the door locked? I believe that is a no. No. Is the door stuck? No. Alright, so Aldrich listens at the door. Getting a little tired, guys. I'm gonna call it quits soon. Checking on the listen. Alright, so that's a thief skill, right? But don't, I think, normal randos, normal adventurers can, okay. For other characters, it's a 1. Okay, alright, so a d6. Ah, now. Does Aldrich hear anything? Alright, no but. Based on what the module says, no, he doesn't hear anything, but. So that's an interesting little twist on this. So let's see what the but is. Verb now. 85. Retreat. Okay. Retreat. Scout. Let's re-roll on the noun table. Retreat. Message. Okay. Couldn't think of anything that retreat message meant. So like retreats trickster. All right, so I'm gonna give the verb list one more time. another roll. Although, retreat. You know what? Instead, retreat. We're gonna roll with that, and then we're gonna make a perception check for Aldrich. Aldrich just doesn't hit on that. Now let's check Magenhild. Magenhild's got a -1 on wisdom, so let's do a perception check for him just in case. 16. Alright, so neither of them. So, like. Neither of them are aware that they may need to retreat, so I'm just going to kind of put that to the side, like zero perception on that. Um, so, as one of the last things I'm going to do this evening is I'm just going to open this door up. It's not stuck, it's not locked. So, Aldrich opens the door, and he's able to see 40 feet in front of him. Now, obviously, a very smart thing to do right now would be to check for traps. Now, Aldrich doesn't have like a 10-foot pole or anything, so very clearly something he could have gotten before. Should have. Probably will before the next session. So, Aldrich and Magenhild are just going to kind of step in here lightly, you know, and then like be on the lookout for traps. Now, I believe it's a 1d6 check for traps. Yeah. So let's see if we detect a trap. So this will be for Aldrich. Aldrich does not detect a trap. Is there any? Yeah. Okay. Does Magenhild? No. So hopefully there aren't any traps in here. At least with this first 10 feet. So Magenhild and Aldrich are going to walk in. Let me check to see if there are any traps. Didn't appear to be in this area. So this 50-foot long corridor is lined with cell doors, 3 on each side. The iron barred doors from the I'm sorry. Let's read it again. This 50-foot long corridor is lined with cell doors, 3 on each side. The iron barred door from the third cell on the right lies twisted in the middle of the corridor floor. At the far end, the corridor opens into a larger space. So, third cell on the right. So that would, I guess, this be this one. Twisted and opened. So, I guess we should check each cell. Probably a really good idea for the next episode. So, Aldrich and his friend Magenhild have entered into this cell area, and it looks like the next course of action, barring this one right here, it says to the right, so it's hard to say. Well, okay, to their right, which would be this. Um, I think the next thing to do would be to explore each individual cell and try to figure out why this cell is twisted and wrought on the floor. And then, apparently, based on the description that I probably should not have given in total, it looks like there is something else beyond this um, section. So, Aldrich doesn't know that. Magenhild doesn't know that. So, and I believe, and I'll rewatch this to make sure that I have all. I really need to do better with my notes, but I believe Magenhild said that he lost somebody down here, or that was just a poor roll that I decided not to go with. So I'll double check on that, and I'll just continue to work on my notes. But we are absolutely like over. We're not over double. We're almost at double time. We're at an hour and 58 minutes coming up, and I really wanted to get into this dungeon and kind of like put some time in it, and we did. Uh, about an hour and a half, I would say, coming up on. So I'm really glad that we did that, and I'm really glad that we ran into Magenhild because, like, you know, the Sturge almost killed uh, Aldrich, but we just got really lucky on the Sicilian. So moving forward, having another fighter is going to be incredibly important, and so I'm glad that the dice brought him to us. And so yeah, I'm incredibly tired. It's you know, you see 2 hours of raw content. I've been working on this for about 4 hours, and it is 4 o'clock in the morning at my time. And so I'm going to just end it here and really hope that everything works out for us in the future when it comes to this dungeon. I'm gonna kind of like play it a little bit on my side versus the enemy side because I don't want to restart all of this with a new character and all of that. I think it's just now getting started. So we're just going to continue to play. I'm going to work on my notes and being a little better prepared next time. Uh, I really appreciate anybody that's stuck around for the last 2 hours. It's been slow goings the last couple of episodes. I understand that. It's just sometimes the story takes what the story takes. But you guys have been really great, just sticking around with me as I'm trying to learn all of this, and we'll just continue to explore this fortress. I'm really looking forward to this and any other adventures that come into play at Morgansfort. And I'm not going to try to push much. I do want to kind of like run the whole module if possible, but sometimes, particularly with a GME, sometimes it just doesn't happen. But then after that, I want to get into uh, like manufacturing dungeons and going off of a scripted module and just seeing what lays out before us. And that's going to be a little tough, I think, with a VTT and a visual podcast like I have. But resources exist that can kind of help with that, and we're just gonna have to play it. and we'll figure it out. And I'm really looking forward to the next episode. And, just stick with me. I'm trying to figure it out. Fortunately, I think the music as it sits at the moment is not terrible. I really want to get to a different point where the music is like a separate track, and then I can mix it in later and not have to, have all of these interruptions with the music. But I appreciate everybody that's stuck around so far, and we will, just keep gaming, and hopefully this inspires, future solo gaming efforts. So with that, GM Wolfgang is going to sign off, and I hope you all have a good night or day or whatever. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to bed. Bye, y'all.